Crasset believes that for democracy to succeed, political parties must be democratic, representational, inclusive, and accessible to civil society scrutiny. Unfortunately, most political parties in Nigeria today are either representing oligarchies or former power holders. B, composed of former radicals who have not adjusted to partisan norms and practices, or individuals united by their personal interests in seeking power, with no coherence, credibility, or innovative political platforms. Election petitions, from delayed justice to no justice. The adage goes that justice delayed is justice denied. However, in the context of election petition proceedings in Nigeria, the current attitude is that justice denied is better than justice delayed. Section 285 of the 1999 Constitution was amended to provide the following time limits for considering and deciding election petitions. An election tribunal shall deliver its judgment in writing within 180 days from the date of the filing of the petition. An appeal from a decision of an election tribunal or court shall be heard and disposed of within 60 days from the date of the delivery of judgment of the tribunal. The court, in all appeals from election tribunal, may adopt the practice of first giving its decision and reserving the reasons therefor to a later date. This amendment was intended to prevent a situation in which petitions remain pending until the office term expires. The amendment mandates that the state organize its justice system to ensure that election petition cases are resolved within the specified time frames. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court has interpreted the statute to imply that election petition cases that have not been decided within the allotted time have expired. In accordance with the ruling, numerous election petition cases were dismissed without being heard on their merits. The simplest way to defend an election petition in Nigeria today is to delay the hearing of the petition until the limit of hearing the petition has expired. Economy and social decays. Decadence and degradation have persisted in every aspect and sphere of our national life, including the economic, social, and political spheres. Continually, a cloud of gloom and apprehension envelops the land. The incompetence, insensitivity, and despotic arrogance of the APC-led government over the past 8 years and now have become legendary in the face of grievous national problems, as has its pitiful inability to offer viable solutions to the multiplicity of problems that plague our society at present. A word of caution, however, is that Nigeria must be proactive on issues of common interest, because the forces behind undemocratic and corrupt practices that continue to undermine the public good are relentless in recruiting lackeys who are most willing to cater our genuine efforts. Several National Assembly probes into fuel subsidies, as well as the responses of certain alleged thieves, exemplify this heinous phenomenon. Crasset has monitored the transition to democratic rule and its processes in Nigeria since 2007 to date. The present state of democratic governance in Nigeria gives us serious cause to worry. Instead of making progress, democratic governance appears to be in crisis, if not in danger, as a result of many factors, which include the following: the state of insecurity in the country, reign of impunity, lack of institutional independence of INEC, high level of corruption in the country, interference with judiciary, killing of the electoral reform process, undemocratic local government system, lawlessness and lack of internal democracy in Nigeria's political parties, growing rate of poverty and massive unemployment in the country, marginalization of women, youths, and persons with disability in the political process, grave insecurity of lives and property in Nigeria. Section 14 of the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria, as amended, proclaims that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Nigeria is a country founded on the rule of law. A rule of law presupposes that there must be an effective executive government capable of maintaining law and order at all times. Unfortunately, under the present civilian-based governance regime, innocent citizens are being killed, maimed, robbed, raped, and kidnapped on a daily basis. The security agencies are not able to curb the criminal activities of the terrorist group, armed robbers, kidnappers, militants, assassins, baddies, and most recently, the unknown government activities. Today, most Nigerians live in fear. Various governments in Nigeria are begging armed groups and persons who have violated the sanctity of life of many Nigerians to come and embrace amnesty. The right to life guaranteed in Section 33 of the Nigerian Constitution implies a duty on the government to save life. Successive government in Nigeria has failed woefully in this regard. Several reports have shown that some of the armed groups in Nigeria were created and nurtured by politicians for political intimidation of political opponents. Most of the state governments in Nigeria maintain and keep private armed men in their payroll who are used to rig elections. After elections, the arms are turned against ordinary Nigerians. Again, the recent altercation between Department of State Security, DSS, and the Economic and Financial Crime Commission shows that all is not well with our security system. Uwe's panel report and the electoral reform. The issue of electoral reform in Nigeria arose as a result of public indignation and protests against the April 2007 general elections, which, according to local and international election observers, were profoundly defective and fundamentally flawed. The salient recommendation of the Uwe's panel on electoral reform, which enjoyed overwhelming support of Nigerians, have been jettisoned by successive governments and the National Assembly. The key recommendations of the Uwe's panel, which are still highly germane to our democratic march, include that the appointment of the board of INEC shall be made by the Council of State on the recommendation of the National Judicial Council, subject to confirmation by the Senate. The State Independent Electoral Commission shall be reorganized and incorporated into the structure of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The state-level secretariat of INEC should therefore consist of 37 directors of election, one for each state and the FCT, appointed by INEC, trained and posted to states other than their states of origin. That the burden of proving that election held and was free and fair shall lie on the INEC. That no elected person should assume office until the case against him or her in the tribunal or court has been disposed of. These were the salient recommendations by Uwe's report. So far, all the government in Nigeria have, in their selfish wisdom, brazenly refused to implement these far-reaching recommendations of Uwe's panel, which would have put pay to most of the electoral malpractices currently witnessed in the country. The president still retains the power to appoint the chairman of INEC and resident electoral commissioners. The resident electoral commissioners are appointed on the recommendations of the ruling party governors and party leaders. So how can we make progress on our democratic march? Lack of internal democracy in Nigeria political parties. Democratic elections without genuine political participation lead to a government and legislatures which deny inclusiveness. Genuine participation implies a population educated on human rights, the political system, including political parties, electoral procedures, representative institutions, and civic duties. Rule of law is a basic requirement of democracy. In fact, it is the glue of a democratic system, which must be guaranteed by establishing, among other things, civilian control of the military and ensuring the independence of the judiciary. But we are increasingly witnessing the emergence of a bloc transition in Nigeria, where popular participation of citizens does not exist. There is increasing monopolization of political power by the executive branch to the detriment of legislators and the judiciary. Currently, reports are awash on how the newly inaugurated Tinubu presidency is chopping for Senate President and Federal House of Representatives Speaker, who will position the 10th Assembly at the executive's beck and call.